Alright guys, well, got the car back, everything went well. We'll put the dyno graph up on the screen here in a little bit. Didn't make anything crazy for numbers, but they said that they could have pushed it more, but they wanted to be safe with the FA20 and with how many miles are on it. But it's an actual tune. I don't know how full-blown was able to tune it before, because the ethanol sensor, the flex fuel sensor, was not sending signal to the ECU, so it wasn't telling it how much ethanol was in it. So it was just basically whatever fuel we had in it. If there was any ethanol content, it just kept trying to correct itself. So we were getting shit for gas mileage. Throttle response was terrible. So it's kind of exciting to see how the car is going to respond now. So took the car, everything was great, drove great, power was great. And then we kind of ran into the same issue again, and we're on the side of the road. So we limped it back here. Luckily we were only like 5 miles away, but it still took us about a half an hour to make it back. Tuner got in the car, took it for test drive. Happened again within 2 miles, and then he was able to look at everything, and it kept getting the check engine light for the map sensor. So we were looking around trying to find one. Nobody has any. Subaru, the nearest Subaru dealership had one. Sick little turbo Miata. But they want $318 for an OEM map sensor. We're like, absolutely not. But they looked at the settings for the map sensor in the tune, and it was, you can set the voltages for it, the max and minimum, and one of them was right on the edge, and as soon as the voltage would go over, it would trip that and then put the car into basically like a really bad limp mode. So he adjusted the voltage, the minimum and max, and said he was driving around for about 12 miles and no issues, which was way further than I ever got. So hopefully it's all good. And now we're gonna go get something to eat and then head back to Bemidji. So far so good, smooth sailing, and excited to kind of see how different the performance is. I haven't really pushed it too much. I got on it a little bit and it feels really good. According to their adjusted dyno numbers, which I'll put up on the screen, and it says fly for like fly at the flywheel, but that's their adjusted numbers to replicate basically what the car would get on a dyno jet. And they have a dyno tech dyno, so it's lower reading than Mustang dyno by about 10%. We made our goal of at least 300, so we'll kind of wait to see how big of a difference that made. And it's a better tune, it's cleaner. Like, they didn't tune it super rich. It's actually tuned on E85, whereas the previous one they did some makeshift way of tuning around it. As of right now, happy ending to this journey, getting the car tuned, and hopefully it just continues this way, because we need some better luck on our side, because this last weekend has been kind of rough. Alright guys, we're in the FRS. I told her to be easy on it before she actually tested out, and we're gonna test out to see her reaction on the new tune and the power that it's making, which is about 308 to the wheels on E85. Anywhere from E51 to E85 it'll make the same horsepower, and we're at E58 right now. But we're gonna see what she thinks. We're not gonna get any traction out here because it's wet and cold, but I think she'll still be able to feel the difference, because it's pretty significant having a proper tune on it, not just some makeshift get the car out the door tune. Turn the fun button on. that's where it was disappointing before. It felt decent down low,
Yeah.
and that's what we saw when we would line up with other people, is that initially, like,
Yeah.
it would do really good. We'd pull on people, and then all of a sudden they would just go past us. Well, that's the thing. Even when it's dry, first gear, it's
Well, and at least it was, like, even with it being wet, like, I didn't feel out of control, which is nice.
yeah.
Because I was a little concerned.
Well, and the thing with
about,
this
like,
car is, like, when it does step out, it's so controllable, and like you know exactly what it's doing.
Yeah. Because that's the only thing that always makes me nervous about driving cars is step out, because some of them are controllable and some of them aren't. And like that, like I felt like instead of letting off,
It's-
just stay in it.
Yeah, it's
You know?
it's slow enough where you can catch it and it's controllable.
Yeah.
The IS300 was the exact same way, and that's why it was so fun to slide around, because it was controllable.
Yeah.
Whereas like the S2000, it's just like everything is happening so fast that it's
Right. Yeah, no, it definitely feels.
like
It feels better.
yeah.
That's for sure. Feels kind of gnarly. Like almost, you know.
And this is how it should have been from the beginning, and
Yeah.
should have been
and
enjoying
then
this for the last
the fact
2 years.
is too is that he said that there's still room. Like if we wanted to get
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit more out of it, we could. Whereas like before, it was like 270, right?
I think it made like 280, 282 or something like that. But then that could just be some bullshit number that they pulled out of their ass, because they weren't able to tune it on E85. They probably tuned it somewhere in between, like a mixture of the two,
Yeah.
just so that the ECU could make up for the difference, because the ECU can recalibrate up to like 30%. So what do you think?
No, I'm happy with it.
Good.
I mean, it'll be cool to like do more than just that with it, like test it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, when the roads
okay.
are,
Yeah.
when it's warmer out, you'll get a little bit more traction, but you're very limited on traction with this because we have like a million degrees of negative camber. So
Yeah. But no, it's fun. It'll be, I kind of want to like, I just want to have the opportunity to like line up against some people again and just see like, because that helps secure it. Because like, it felt good before.
yeah.
as
Well,
far
even
as,
before, like we can line our cars up again, because like you pulled away from me last time, but now like this feels significantly faster than my car now. So you should just run away. Yeah, I think we should first line it up with the S2000 and see how big of a difference that is compared to what it was before.
Yeah.
And then also you're limited by your grip right now in first gear. Second gear on, you'll be perfectly fine. You won't have any issues with grip, but first gear, it's pretty much, if you're at any speed in first gear and you put your foot to the floor, it's just gonna light the tires up. So
Do you know who didn't